Show coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250-plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Peloton. Live studio classes in the comfort of your very own home. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Where's Carlton? Where's Carlton? Carlton in Tampa, Florida, John. Carlton in Tampa, Florida, Nuno. Where's Carlton? The #1 Bill Belichick critic on the planet Earth. I usually don't call out my callers. I love them. And I don't love any of them more than I love Carlton. But boy, will I be looking for you today, buddy. Don't go hiding, Carlton. Don't you hide. I'll get into the New England Patriots advancing to the AFC Championship game in just a minute, in just a few, rather. But the first order of business was that robbery, that heist that took place in New Orleans, Louisiana yesterday afternoon. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not calling for the Los Angeles Rams to be arrested. I'm very, very happy. It's good news for ESPN, particularly ESPN 710, ESPN LA. Flagship station for the Los Angeles Rams. I'm very happy. Todd Gurley can ball, even though he didn't do that much yesterday. C.J. Anderson has been a welcomed addition. Jared Goff is going to be praised for over the next 2 weeks. Until Super Bowl 53 arrives in Atlanta, Georgia, we will be spending time religiously praising Jared Goff because what a performance by him yesterday afternoon. And, oh, by the way, let's not forget Aaron Donald. Let's not forget Ndamukong Suh. Let's not forget the fact that Marcus Peters looked pretty damn good yesterday. He didn't look bad. Let's not forget Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, and what he was able to do. But more so than anybody else, stand up and give props and applause to Aqib Talib. Not Sean McVay, who didn't have his greatest game coaching. And all the aforementioned individuals, they deserve some credit too. But my Lord, Michael Thomas, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, who ran roughshod over Marcus Peters and the Los Angeles Rams secondary in that regular season matchup where he was targeted 15 times, caught 12 passes for 211 yards. Oh, he was a non-factor yesterday. Couldn't find him. Might as well put an APB out on him. Did have 4 receptions for 36 yards, 119-yard reception, but essentially was completely neutralized by Aqib Talib. And if you're the Los Angeles Rams, or if you're a fan of the Los Angeles Rams, and you're dissecting the biggest bullet point as to why they ended up this game victorious, and you want to give credit to some of the players, Aqib Talib should be at the top of your list. But we all know that's not what happened yesterday. We all know that's not what transpired. We know that dissecting this and looking at this for what it is, we understand exactly what transpired yesterday afternoon in New Orleans, Louisiana, inside that Superdome. A robbery took place. A heist took place. The New Orleans Saints should be going to Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta, Georgia. There is no way around it, ladies and gentlemen. If we're going to be honest about what we saw, and we're going to be honest about what happened, the New Orleans Saints should be prancing, sauntering to Atlanta, Georgia for Super Bowl 53. It's about 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Drew Brees, not his greatest day, without question, throws a pass that if the defender, Nickell Robey-Coleman, even looks, it's an interception. Except he didn't look. He never looked at the ball. He never looked at the quarterback. He set his sights on Tommy Lee Lewis, wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, who's going down the right sideline. And with the ball at least 4 yards away from him, Nickell Robey-Coleman just walloped him. First of all, it was a pass interference, flagrantly so. Secondly, it was helmet-to-helmet contact as well. It would have given The Saints are first down. Los Angeles had just used the second timeout, probably only had about one left. And as a result, the Saints would have simply been able to run the clock down, not allowed the Rams to even get the ball back, and kick the field goal to win unless they went for the jugular and scored a touchdown, giving the Rams an obligation to try and score a touchdown in order to win the game. Either way you slice it, it's over. The game's over. The Saints would have won the game. They'd have been headed to the Super Bowl because the Rams would have never had an opportunity to get the football back. And that is that. But the referees never called it. They just treated it like it was an incomplete pass. The intended receiver, Tommy Lee Lewis, 3rd down and 10. It's an incompletion. Ultimately, the Saints have to kick the field goal. As a result, it gives the Rams an opportunity to get the ball back, to go downfield and kick the field goal. You got overtime, and we know what happened then. Drew Brees gets pressured by Fowler, gets his arm hit, ball flies in the air, gets picked off by the Rams. Ultimately, they're in position to get another field goal, and that's actually what ended up happening for them to win the game. Zuerlein kicked 2 field goals, big-time kicks on his part. Props to him. But in the end, what this comes down to is the fact that, guess what? We can slice it any way we want to. If that call is made in regulation, there is no overtime. A matter of fact, the Rams don't even get a last possession in regulation. And as a result, the Saints go marching on to the Super Bowl. But that is not what happened. And because that is not what happened, and because Zuerlein instead ended up kicking a field goal with 19 seconds left, overtime arrived. And there you have it. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. First of all, there needs to be a rules change with the National Football League. When you have a situation where I understand there was no call made, but you still should be in a position to challenge such a flagrant no call on the part of the officiating in that kind of situation. You should still be able to challenge a non-call just as well as you could challenge a call. And I don't give a damn if you have to eradicate calls being challenged earlier in the game or non-calls being challenged earlier in the game. I don't give a damn if you got to eradicate all of that. The second half matters. Overtime matters. And I'll be damned if the postseason doesn't matter. When the postseason arrives, you got to do everything in your power to make sure you get it right. And the league office picking up the phone and calling Sean Payton and acknowledging that human error was performed and was made by the officials don't amount to a hill of beans. We had 2 great, phenomenal, fantastic conference championship games with a right to go to the Super Bowl on the line. It was nothing but great football last night. And it was contaminated by the league. By the league. Both games, I might add. And that's the sad part in all of this. Because when you look at what transpired, listen, I had a lot of problems with what Sean Payton did. Yes, Drew Brees didn't play that well, no question. No way to completely absolve him from his struggles, but the Rams were in his face all afternoon. Aaron Donald and those boys was coming for him. So you had that problem. The absence of a running game, that was another problem. And even though Alvin Kamara was eating them up in the second half, how come more plays weren't set up for Michael Thomas to get free? How come Ted Ginn Jr. wasn't able to exploit? Or Traquan Smith wasn't able to exploit? Or Ben Watson or anybody else wasn't able to exploit all things that were not named Aqib Talib? Why did that happen? Sean Payton's supposed to be boy genius. He was Sean McVay before there was a Sean McVay. He's the innovative. He's the innovator. He's the offensive play caller. He's the Super Bowl champion as a coach from 9 years ago, back in 2009, when New Orleans beat Jim Caldwell and the Indianapolis Colts. That was him. This is also the same Sean Payton that up until last season had missed the playoffs for the last 5 years. He's a bit emotional after the game. I understand that. And I understand how he was lamenting how, you know what, that's a call that shouldn't be missing. He was right. And the bottom line is that the Saints got robbed because they should be going to game. I picked the Saints to win this game. Damn it, I still ain't taking credit for being wrong. Hell no. Saints should have won that game. That was a blown call by the officials. I'm not mad at the Rams because I don't mind seeing them there. I got love for those Rough Riders. Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in football. And Ndamukong Suh has shown up in this postseason. Very, very happy for him. A guy that I think has gotten a bad rep throughout the years. Aqib Talib is a bit eccentric and what have you, but that brother can ball. Marcus Peters had one bad game. We talked about him like he was trash. He's not a man-to-man cover guy. He zones. He spies. He takes chances. You know this about him. And most times, more often than not, he'll create turnovers. So people appreciate that. We talked about him like he was trash. So I'm going to give those boys credit. I'm going to give Wade Phillips and his defense credit. I'm going to do all of that. But I did expect more from Sean Payton. I did expect more from Drew Brees. And when I saw the lack of innovativeness on the part of the New Orleans Saints offense, I'm not looking at Drew Brees for that. I'm looking at Sean Payton. Damn good coach, Super Bowl champion. Not advocating for him to be fired or anything ridiculous like that. I'm just saying I expected more. That's all. I expected the Saints to drop at least 30. So whatever New Orleans wasn't able to do offensively, I'm not letting Sean Payton off the hook for that. I'm not letting Drew Brees off the hook for that. But I will tell you, Saints should have still won the game. There is no excuse whatsoever. Even up 13-0 and relinquishing that lead. They still should have won this game. And they got hosed. They got robbed. And it ain't just by a poor official who engaged in human error. It's about a league office. How the hell do you not have the right to review plays in the last 2 minutes of regulation? You got all of these rules in place. We want to implore player safety, and we want to get things right. And you know what? If it just causes a slight delay, you know what? It's offset by the fact that you made the right call. In the age of advanced technology and beyond, I mean, my God, Stephen A., you know, this is the right thing to do. That's what y'all want to say. Except in the last 2 minutes of a postseason game with a Super Bowl berth on the line. Oh, now we throw that out the window. Now we don't need instant replay. Now we don't need calls being reviewed and challenged or non-calls being reviewed and challenged. Oh, no, far be it for that to happen. Far be it for that to happen. Can't do that. Never that. So the Saints got robbed. This Super Bowl should have been the Saints in it, without question. Can't say the same about New England. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers is the greatest talent at the quarterback position that I've ever seen. But that doesn't negate the fact that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback in NFL history. Greater than Joe Montana. Greater than Peyton Manning. Greater than Dan Marino. Greater than Brett Favre. Greater than John Elway. Greater than Johnny Unitas. Greater than Troy Aikman. Greater than Terry Bradshaw. Greater than Steve Young. He's the greatest. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs score the football with over a minute left. And all I could think about was, damn, Tom Brady has too much time. That's exactly where I was with it. 2:06 to be exact. Williams runs up the winner. Williams player had a monster game, by the way. He's still no Kareem Hunt in my mind. But Damian Williams can ball. And by the way, for those who knocked me for mentioning Kareem Hunt with the New Orleans Saints, you remember that last week, John, where all over social media, everybody's getting on me? This is what I love. I'm talking about Kareem Hunt being exiled from Kansas City for 2 hours on live television with First Take. I'm talking again about Kareem Hunt being exiled from Kansas City on radio. But because I slip up talking about the Saints, and instead of Alvin Kamara, I mentioned Kareem Hunt as if he's a Saint because I screwed up the name after talking about him all morning. Suddenly, I need to stick to basketball and I don't know football. Ladies and gentlemen, people just need to just starve. We're living in an age, with the economy and everything else. We're living in an age where everybody is trying to be relevant no matter what. So maybe if I take Stephen A. and I put his name front and center as a headline for a blog, I'll get more hits. I appreciate the fact that I'm so attractive to y'all. Just spell my name with a PH, not a V, okay? And go kick rocks. Back to regularly scheduled programming. Here's the deal. Chiefs go up 28-24, 2 minutes, 6 seconds left, and I found myself thinking, damn, too much time for Brady. And sure enough, this dude throws an interception picked off by Ward because it went off the hands of Gronkowski, but Dee Ford lined up off sides. Dee Ford is too experienced. He's not a rookie. He's been in the league long enough to know better. He's an elite pass rusher. What an egregious mistake. Because bottom line is, it offset everything. It offset the interception. Brady was able to keep the ball. Very, very next pass, 25-yard hookup right back to Gronkowski down the left side. Right down to Gronkowski. Burkhead ultimately runs in for a 4-yard touchdown. Patriots take the lead. Patrick Mahomes gets the ball back 39 seconds. A couple of penalties on the part of Jackson enables Mahomes and those boys to get within field goal range within 39 seconds. They tie the score. And here's where things get ugly. How in God's name do we have the eminent MVP of the National Football League standing on the sidelines praying he gets the football? How does that happen? How does that happen? Praying he gets a chance to be on the field because NFL rules stipulate that if you score a touchdown, that's it. If you score a field goal, then okay, the other team can get a chance at you just like in college. But if you score a touchdown, it's over. As opposed to in college where you know what? You get a chance no matter what. Even if the other team scores, you still get a chance for an offensive possession. How come that doesn't exist in the National Football League? Are we going to go the route of safety? Safety, is that what we're doing, John? Is that what we're doing? We're talking safety now? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's college football. You get the ball. Even if you score, the other team gets an opportunity to get on the field and score. If they don't score, then bam, game's over. But if they do score, it keeps going. But in the NFL, no, we're not going to do that. So let me get this straight, y'all. We are concerned about player safety, which is one of the reasons why you want to get off the field as quick as you possibly can, right? So if the team scores a touchdown, then you don't even get a chance to get out on the field. We want to be concerned because we want to lean on player safety with grown men, John. Grown men. No, grown men. But with the kids, let's throw them to the wolves. The kids in college, oh, you go ahead, you go out there and play. We'll give you a chance at an extra possession as well. But not the NFL teams. What kind of damn sense does that make? In the International Football League, all these rule changes that you have implemented throughout the years, everything clearly catering to offense. Don't get me started. Don't let me quote Ray Lewis, Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, and how much he's lamented how they've taken manhood out of the National Football League because they won't let these brothers just play. All of these rule changes have stripped defenses of its potency. It's like y'all don't want any damn defense. This man, a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest linebackers in NFL history, has publicly accused the NFL of taking that position. Publicly. Yet and still, you make all of those changes to facilitate more offense. but you don't give the other team an opportunity to get on the field. You don't give Patrick Mahomes, who had scored 31 points in the second half, 24 points in the fourth quarter, after going against a New England defense that had shut him out. You don't give this man a chance to get on the field and answer Brady when him and Brady went tit for tat in the fourth quarter. You don't give him a chance to answer Brady. Tom Brady. So Tom Brady gets the drive to the field, and he was phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. 3rd and 10, Edelman, 20 yards. 3rd and 10, Edelman, 15 yards. 3rd and 10, Gronkowski, 15 yards. I mean, Tom Brady was something special. He was something special to behold. It was mesmerizing to watch and depressing all at the same damn time, because you get tired of seeing the New England Patriots dominate, being the dynasty that they are. But the fact of the matter is, he's just that great. He's just that great. And that's what he showed himself to be. Tom Brady was unstoppable. Everybody and their grandmother knew he was going to score. I mean, against Bob Sutton's defense, who, by the way, should be embarrassed walking the streets of Kansas City with a title as defensive coordinator when you're ranked 27th against the run, which is 5th worst in the league, when you're ranked 31st against the pass, which is 2nd worst in the league, when you got the 31st ranked defense in yards allowed, which is 2nd worst in the league, and you walk around with a title that's the defensive coordinator. I'm shocked you're allowed to walk the streets. And if Andy Reid deserves to be criticized for anything, with all due respect, it should be mostly about having Bob Sutton as his defensive coordinator, because clearly there needs to be an upgrade. There's no other way to slice it. There's no other way to slice it. You knew good and damn well that they weren't going to stop. Listen, it could have been a blowout. Tom Brady did throw an interception in the end zone to Ragland. It could have been a blowout. But Patrick Mahomes is something special. And the fact that he didn't get an opportunity to get back on that field to answer whatever Tom Brady threw at them in overtime is a blemish on the league. Great, phenomenal championship Sunday. Tarnished by the league. Not by the players, by the league. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage in America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. By the way, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. Back with your calls and more on this Martin Luther King holiday. Can't wait to touch on him, as I will do in just a minute. You're listening live with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Winter or summer, rain or shine, with the Peloton bike, it's always the